Hello everyone, my name is Lovepreet Kaur. Today I'm here to give you a demo of the software that I have developed in order to analyze handwriting. I have called this application Handwriting Analysis Software. This is basically to analyze the handwriting of Huntington patients, Parkinson's disease patients, or children with some sort of disorders. It's mainly for the researchers who are interested in looking at the handwriting patterns of these kind of patients or people with such conditions. So I'll show you this software, which has mainly three features. One is it displays the graph of the handwriting. It shows you how the handwriting was written, and then it also has velocity acceleration graphs. So one is the graphical display. You can see handwriting, velocity and acceleration tabs for all three different kinds of graphs. And the second feature of this application is that it shows you all the calculated parameters. For example, you can calculate the character width of the characters. You can also calculate total trial time, mean width, and some other parameters which I'll show you as I start the demo. The third main feature is this application allows you to save all those parameters that you calculate in this application. So with that, I'll start the demo. First, once you run the program, you go and select a file. This is a data file that gets saved on a computer when a subject writes on a screen. This is another device that you use in order to collect the data. So the subject writes the characters on a screen, and then they get saved in a file. So I select this file, and I'm now trying to analyze it. So here you see, this is the handwriting. This is how the characters were actually written by the subject. Now in this, you can look at the handwriting. Also, there is a second graph called velocity graph, which basically shows you how the velocity changes at every point while the person was writing these characters. So you can see where it went high and where it went down. And then there is another graph which is only for velocity. So in this graph, you can see how the velocity was changing. We see there was sudden change in velocity here. And then there's third graph, the acceleration graph. So since we noticed that at this point the velocity had changed suddenly, therefore the acceleration was so high. So here you can look at how the acceleration was varying while the person was writing. And then this is another graph which is basically to look at the raw data and filtered data. When a subject that has conditions such as Huntington disease or Parkinson's disease, they have tremors in their hands. So that kind of gives very rough data. So I had to use a filter to clean some noise out of it. So this basically lets you see the raw versus the filtered data. This is the x-axis data, and then this is the y-axis data. So this is just for researchers to analyze how the filtered is versus the raw data. So once you have seen all these graphs, you can also see some of the parameters. For example, you can see what the peak velocity is. That has already been calculated, and it shows right next to the velocity graph. You can see what's the time to peak velocity, and then it also shows you time from peak velocity to next zero velocity and such. Same thing in the acceleration graph. You have peak velocity calculated out here, the time to peak acceleration calculated out here, then time from peak acceleration to next zero acceleration. So all such parameters, they are displayed on the front panel. And another new parameter that you can calculate here is character width. So if you place the cursor on the leftmost end, the first cursor, and then second cursor on the rightmost end, with that you'll be able to see the character width. You can see it, then you can also save that character width if you click it on this button. So this shows you character 1 width has been saved. Then you can now go on to second character width again. Place the green cursor on the right end of the character, the red cursor on the left end of the character, and then again go and say save character width. It saves. So you can go on and save the character width of all the characters. And on the rightmost side you can also see the character mean width here, and all these are in pixels. These values, they are in pixels. So that was second feature, that it shows you all the calculated parameters. The third is it allows you to save all these parameters in a file. So what you basically do is go and click on this button called Save Output File. So you click there and it says the file has been saved successfully. So say OK, and it will save this file in the same location as the one from which the file that was to be analyzed was selected. So let's say this file was on my desktop in this folder. This was the file that we analyzed. So the result file now will also get saved in the same folder on the desktop. So once you have the file saved, you can close the program, or you can select another file to analyze one more file. So when you click on close program, the program turns off, and then you can also close the window by clicking on the cross button on the top end. So now let's go and see where that data file got saved with all the parameters that we just calculated. So going back to the same folder from where I selected the file, which is actually this one here. This was the file that got saved. It's a text file. If you click on it, now this file has all those parameters that were calculated saved in it. For example, it has the peak velocity in there, it has the time to peak velocity, which is this, and it also has peak acceleration, time to peak acceleration, and all other such parameters. The character width and mean character width, they all are saved in the file. So in this way, using this software, the researchers can easily select any file they want to analyze and get the parameters calculated and save them. So I hope you liked my video, and this will be very useful for your research or any other purpose that involves use of analyzing handwriting. Thank you.